I'm Gary and welcome to Project X-Wing Part 10. I did say I wouldn't do any more videos on mounting the LEDs into the X-Wing, the actual pool light LEDs into the X-Wing. I'm doing this video because we've changed quite a few things from the spare model that's now hanging on the ceiling, albeit temporarily. It's only up there testing the heats and temperatures and lights and playing under it and all this sort of stuff. So any improvements we can make on the real one, we will. But everything's going fine. We've played quite a lot of hours under it and it's been absolutely fantastic. Better than the other light that was up there, which we had up there for a good 10 years, if not more. I've changed because of the shape of the bottom of the X-Wing was like a V shaped and it wasn't flat either in the other plane, so you had two different angles basically, which when I took the molds of it, which gave me brilliant like alignment for the LEDs and stuff, which made that fit in them a piece of cake. I kind of like lost track of it because the idea of fitting the LEDs kind of outweighed what the other bits, if you see what I mean. And I didn't think about the fact that I hadn't taken the shape of the model outside into consideration. I was looking at it from mounting the LEDs inside and getting them in the right place. So Dean cut the holes. He owns the pool hut and the pool table. We've been friends for years and we play pool regularly, but he cut the holes and gave me the model back because, to be fair, it's his model. He paid for them, so it's only fair he breaks them, right? So he cut the holes. I don't want to go down and tell him I've broken them. I've broken enough stuff doing this as it is. So he cut the holes. I went down and got the model back. Tried to fit the LEDs. Horrendous. They should have just lined up and popped straight in, and I was at it for hours getting the things to line up, putting the holes in there, and it was a monster of a job. I mean, luckily I started where I did. I started on probably the flattest part of the model. Had I started at the back, might well have had more holes drilled in it because I just hadn't even thought about this shape of this at all. But we mounted them. It's hanging on the ceiling. It's fine. It plays absolutely fine. It's only got the holes it should have in it, and you wouldn't know that something's didn't quite work out how we planned. But that's the whole idea of having a spare one. That's why we had a spare one. And this is an R&D thing. Everything I learn is the hard way by making a mistake and things going wrong. So what have I changed? We're using multi-mold plastic, which I've molded it into the shape of the inside and leveled the top so that the copper plates sit on a flat surface. So we could screw them into the multi-mold plastic, or we could just put like alignment dowels in there, little cocktail sticks or something, drill holes in so we can just drop the plates in and they're aligned, hot glue them on there, something like that. What else have I done? Oh, the way that the LEDs are mounted to the copper plate, I've screwed the LEDs themselves to the copper plate, then I've screwed the heatsink to the copper plate, or both, whichever's worked out best really. They're all slightly different, but that's the biggest change from the other model. That was one of the first model. That was one of the biggest changes I've made. So I was just really documenting that as to what's different about this one, because we might fully load both of them, so they both end up with NeoPixels in the exhaust. They both end up with painted intakes and paint battle damage, and because we probably use the first one as a tester, but when we spray it up, so anything we're not happy with, we fix, hopefully. And we could just put all the LEDs in the intakes, nose wheel, all the circuit boards, replicate them all, and all the connection, ribbon cables and everything that goes into this main one. We are thinking about just like duplicating it, so we've got one that can basically just be unplugged and plug the new one in, so that if it goes wrong, one can be fixed. That's where we're kind of at now. Sorry, we're a long way off of that. As I said, we had another pool light up. There's just a kitchen light which was up there for 10 years at least, if not longer than that. Dean will probably correct me when he watches this. We played under that for 10 years and it was fine. And having a few beers and stuff one night, and we were sort of thinking about, doing something better. And we talked about using an old PS3 that died, yellow light of death or something. We were going to think about gutting that and making it into a pool light. Dean's a Star Wars fan, so he's got quite a lot of stuff in his pool hut. So it makes sense to make it a Star Wars thing. But I couldn't tell you how this came about because there was alcohol involved, so I don't really know. But somehow we got onto the X-Wing. Then we found an X-Wing, and Dean bought it. We found another X-Wing, and Dean got that as well. So that was how we got the spares. The initial idea, so I'm trying to hold this phone up. The initial idea was just to get the original light fitting, take it down, take out the ceramic fittings, cut some holes in the X-Wing, bolt them in there, put the LEDs in, the GU10s in there, run some power cable down to it, and boom, we got a pool light. Not a bad thing. But then sort of thinking about it, I thought, well, we've got a major sort of issue with heat really with this, because the GU10 fitting, the lights themselves are designed to get rid of the heat. They've got like holes in or fins in or whatever, so they get rid of the heat. They pass that heat into the air, or they pass that, it then goes into the light fitting. The light fitting's got loads of air around, space around everything to allow it to convect. It's got fins in it to get rid of the heat. That then goes into the main body that's screwed up on the ceiling, the disc. That gets rid of heat. That's hollow as well, which get rid of some more heat. Convect it into the ceiling void through where the wires come out and stuff. It goes into the plaster. The ceiling void will be cold because it will be in between the floor space in a house or something, so it will be colder in the loft. It will be, maybe not in the summer, but it will be, it gets rid of the heat basically. Whereas we're using a child's toy and a plastic model, so we've got major problems getting rid of the heat. If you watch the videos, you probably think, well, why didn't you just start with the LEDs? Because it looks like when you see some of them, I showed you sort of bits of some of the circuit boards and that done, and obviously the software's written and stuff like that, or in the process of being written, would probably be better. Well, that's a good question. I did it this way around because I thought, well, the LED part was going to be easy. I really thought we'd just go into Maplins and get a couple of bead LED, 5-watt bead LEDs, maybe put them on a copper plate, maybe get a heatsink or something, wire them up, one driver, link them all together with enough power to run them all, switch it on, boom, we'd have the lights done. Simple. The hard bit was going to be getting the Mega to control the MP3 player, which became 2-3 odd players that I tried. That was the hard part. Getting the sounds to play at random times, getting the Nextion Display to work, get all the software to talk to each other, getting the I2C bus so that all these different devices, the temperature sensors and everything else could all talk to each other and get the information. That was going to be the hard part. It's been over a year, like doing that really. I've been doing it for well over a year. But that bit's done, and then I sort of thought, well, I better do something with the LED lights. Because it's looming up now. We need to start getting this working. And then all of a sudden we tested the bead ones. They get really hot. They need drivers, which funnily enough I was in Maplins when they were closing down. Could have bought a box of them for like a £5. Thought, wow, they'd just be in my garage. More junk in a garage full of junk. I don't need any of that. But I should have bought them because I needed them. So they were going to be something like a £7 or something like that. Even if we get them off a Banggood or something like that, they're still like a £5 or £6-7 or something like that. So there's more cost, cabling things, and there's a few different reasons why we didn't go that way. But we went mains in the end, and we've mains LEDs 20 watt because all the other stuff failed, and we'd had about 3 or 4 goes at it, and it wasn't brilliant. The light wasn't great, the heat wasn't great. The drivers was a problem, cabling there's a lot of problems. So that's why we went with the 20 watt LEDs. So we went that way. As I said, we're playing with it, it's fantastic, it's really working. The problem is the heat. because the multi-mold plastic is going to go, even with this model, leveled them all out great, but the problem is going to be the heat, because at 60 degrees that multi-mold plastic starts to get a bit soft, so that could be an issue after it's been on a few hours. So we're going to have to button this up, put the lid on it and run it for 4 hours or something, see what happens. Definitely at some point, without a doubt. But that's why I left that to the end, because I thought be the easy part, the rest of it was hard, getting the rest of it to work. But I honestly thought that this would be a 5-minute thing, the LEDs, but it hasn't. It's cost a fortune. So we bought so many of the damn things and none of them have worked. I blew one up this week as well. Went bang when I plugged it in. I think I touched it with the drill somewhere I shouldn't have done. Didn't like that. It's hard to say because it blew a big hole in it, so I don't really know what I did with it, but something went wrong with it. So, and as I say, why do I put them on YouTube? I'm not really. It's been more interesting than I thought it would. I've enjoyed it more than I thought I would. I didn't think I'd like doing it at all, but I have. It's been more fun than I thought. But one of the main reasons is it's a great communication platform to share videos, obviously. And Dean sees what I'm doing, so when we discuss issues and problems and that, I can't cart all of that down to the pool hut every time we play pool. Bore him to death with it as well, but it's dragging it all down there, and then it's like he's trying to explain the problem, whereas with a video, he'll look at it and I'm sort of saying about things, and then we'll get talking about it, and it'll be, why didn't you try this or try that, or I've seen this thing that you could use, or even like the paint when I painted it black, there's me using the little Airfix pots at £1.99 each or something like that, and he said to me, well, Poundland do a big 250ml pot of it for like £1. So he got me a couple of pots of that, so there's me messing around with that. I didn't even think about looking in Poundland for it. So, just things like that. It's made it's really good communication. Dean loves watching them as well. Well, he says he does anyway. I don't really know. But he likes watching the videos. So he finds them interesting as to what's actually going on with it, because it's been a long time coming, this model, and it's going to be unique. I don't know that there's another one. I haven't seen anything else like it. So we'll see. Sit back and watch the rest of the video. Get your popcorn out, Dean. This is the sort of real one, getting the LED lights fitted in it, and enjoy. Speak soon. Alright, this is the mounts, the blocks I made. It's a bit messy in there, but this is the fan now running. Just try and put this on one-handed. Always fun. First one is just sitting there like that, and we're going to have to glue this down. But obviously one of the problems we're going to have is, I think it's the cables that's causing it to twist, because it's quite strong at the moment, cables. It's not the cables that we're going to end up with. Maybe there's a little screw there for mounting the sort of like terminal block on, and I think it's hitting my mounting blocks. But I've straightened that up, and we're going to hot glue this in here and see how that gets on. So that's one done. Had a slight accident with one of the other lights, shorted it and it went bang. So we tested that no leakage went to this, so that still works. So it kind of proved the idea of having the isolating plastic on it. Now this is the real X-Wing. As you can see, it's got the extra lights and all that in it, and the wires for the jewels. So I shall crack on and make the next one, which is going in here, and again I'm going to make some mounting plates in here. They're obviously going to be a bit narrower, I think, and try and make a piece of copper. I'm wondering whether to have like an upstand on the copper, so that we can possibly maybe on the side, I don't know, I'll have to think about it, but to try and get more copper in there to get rid of the heat. This one's the hottest light. This one we've got a 40mm fan, didn't we, in the front of this. On the other model it had a 40mm fan in there, and then we had the light here. So that one was okay temperature wise, the back one was, because it's going to have a fan in the back here as well, isn't it? It was that one there that was running hot, so it's going to have to think of something to make more copper in there with like an upstand with holes in it or something. But then I don't want to hack away this support here because it will weaken it right in the middle. But I've also got a lot of cables to get through here. There's all these cables to go through there. There's cables in the top half as well, which could be probably hot glued so they don't drop into it. But we want some kind of, and we also have a fan in there as well, don't we? I think we had, yeah, I'll have to look at the videos back now. That's why I made the videos. Yeah, we've got 1, 2, 3 fans plus these 6 fans in there all together to cool this lot. Anyway, there we go. It's working. Hi Dean. I was doing this tonight. So I've decided to go with this fan, actually, just how it was. Wiring it all up, just testing it. I had the fan running, and all was fine. I plugged the light in and it went bang, and that's the damage. So I'm not quite sure exactly what went wrong there, but we might need another 20 watt LED, I fear. But there we go. Oh well, carry on. Right Dean, here we go. So this is this plate that I've now made, so it's going to fit. I'll show you in the model. Right, here we are. So this is going to fit in like that. Okay, so it's nice and tight. Then that fan is going to sit on there, and this time the fan has got it's bolted down on its own. It's got its own bolt holes to bolt the fan to the plate, not bolting the light to the, the whole thing, bolting it through the light. So the light's got its own holes through there, which do have holes in the fan, but not how I did it before, if you see what I mean. So I'm actually bolting this down, so there's 8 bolts in it basically, not 4. So I'm going to bolt this up, and just got a bit of soldering to do, and then we'll wire this up hopefully. Not quite sure how we're going to make a mould this time to cut the lights out in the plastic, because I sort of did that last time. It really helped you, didn't it? But not sure how that's going to go this time. But anyway, we'll carry on and I'll bolt this all up next. Right, well, this is me soldering these on here now, and the next bit is to cover them with hot glue, because obviously touchy don't be thingy gets a big shock. So we'll put some hot glue over it, let it dry, then I will mount it onto the heatsink and we'll test it, make sure it lights, and then so there's the hot glue on it now, so it's all covered, so you won't be touching that with your fingers. So that's that. You cannot get in there now, it is totally sealed. I'm worried it's a bit too high now, but so we'll here see. It is. Just got one more bolt to put in. So these are bolted. There's one there through the thingy here, so it's not touching the fan. The fan's way above it. So yeah, I'm more happy with this. I think it's pulling all of these down much tighter, which hopefully will help with the cooling. It may be not quite so hot, but I don't know. I think it will be. We'll need to add additional cooling, I think, to do something, but there's nothing I can really add on there, Dean, without, bolting something to the heatsink with more fins on it or something. I don't know. I have to think about so here it is. That's all the bolts in now. So it's put 4 bolts on the LED and 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts on the fan. So there's 8 in total there. The others are down, just down there in the fins. There's one that side there. So it's all got heat paste on it as well, both sides, to try and transfer as much heat out of it as I can. Wearing most of that, but there we go. So now all I've got to do is just extend these cables, tin these ends, so that it's not focusing on that for some reason, but yeah, I'll tin these ends. Right, so there's 2 now done, temporarily wired up. I've just got the temperature sensor to put on here. probably put it on here and just tip it up, just have it cocked up like I did last time. We'll have a fan sitting on there as well. And yeah, that's another one done. So the next one is actually a bit easier to do, the one at the front here. But because we blew a light up, we've now got to wait for one to arrive. But we've got the sensors, so I can wire these sensors so I can get the addresses done. That's it really. And I'm not gluing any of this in yet. I'll leave it so that it can come down to you and you can cut the holes in it. Once I can try and somehow get it so that we can try and make it a bit easier. And then obviously I've got to paint it all as well. The whole lot's all going to be painted, isn't it? But I don't know whether to paint it first and then bring it down to you, or whether to bring it down to you and then paint it afterwards. I dare say you'll text me and see what you think. Might be better after, and then if you crack it, it doesn't matter, does it? I can just, yeah, if I paint it, it might crack when you're cutting it and stuff. Can't remember last time whether you had it when it was black or it wasn't. I can't remember. Righto. Now I have put, this is number 49. That is address 48 at the back. So the centre's 49. I've added this heatsink out of the plasma screen, so it should, being bolted to that other thing, pick up some heat. When this fan sits in there like so, that should flow straight through that and get the heat off of this one, because this was the hottest. We'll try that and give that a bash. I think this time I've had a go at putting some of the plastic in the front here, squeezing it out around the edge because I can trim it up later, but it's just gonna sit on this alley plate, and then the heat sink will sit on there like that. And I'm going to do the same as I did before, is bolt the heat sink to the copper, sorry, the light to the copper first, and then the heat sink to the both. So there's 8 bolts in it. I'm going to try that because it might help cool it. And then we had the 40 fan sitting in here, didn't we, on the other model, in the roof part. And I mean, I could add another piece of copper sort of on the back here maybe, and like have it standing up to let it suck, you know, with holes in it maybe, as an idea. And as I said earlier, this one's going to sit something, I'm thinking about mounting that in plastic as well, that molten plastic, and pushing it in so that we can get it so it stands up without drilling holes in the model. I'm going to move this one round so that it's up against the side here as well, so it's not in the direct airflow, so it's not being like falsely cooled. Possibly the same with this back one as well, because it's going to be in the fan path. So I'll twist this one to the side also so that it's not in the direct line of airflow, so we get a better temperature reading, so in case it sort of seems that it's cold but it's actually not. And that's it. And this heatsink, as I said, we mounted this on here earlier to give it more metal, because this was the hottest ones. This got a lot more fins now, a lot more surface area, and blowing the cold air straight through here will hopefully be more than adequate. And that's on a bigger plate anyway to get rid of the heat. And we're going to have a big 50 fan in the back there, so blowing the whole lot straight out the back. And then hopefully we can get the holes lined up straight and go from there. See, it's still dry in that bit, it's not gone white. It's starting to go white there, but another 10 minutes. But probably finish this tomorrow now, I've had enough. But anyway, another bit to add to the rest of my videos. Right, so this will be how the front one's going to mount. As you can see, it is a bit close to the supports, so not too much glue in there, I don't think, but hopefully this should improve things. We'll see, time will tell. Alright, so this is just the third one done now, and again it's bolted down. I did actually get that tapped, and I've tapped out the holes here, there and there, so they're tapped and threaded, so they're bolted in from the bottom. so that seemed a good idea. Shame I did it at the end, but there we go. The centre one I've taken off the heatsink because the fan rides on a cushion of air and it was actually striking the heatsink and slowing the fan down. So I've fixed that. I've swiveled that sensor around so that it's now not in the air path so much. This one I haven't turned yet, but this is now really ready to go down to have the holes cut. I'm not sure whether I'm going to try and make some kind of mould to try and get the lights in the right place. I don't know, or whether it's to have it on like this, try and mark the centre and then just cut it out and try them again. And they're not glued in, only the mounts are glued in, so they should be good to go. And I'm not going to fit this fan, so that's, I've just got it there showing you what I'm going to do, because we've got another one to go in here, as I said the other day. So I don't know what to do. I shall speak to Dean, he watches these videos, probably one of the only people that do, so we'll see what he says.
Right,
well, this is the third one, which is by the nose wheel. That's now done. I took that heatsink off of the centre one because when the fan starts it kind of like rides, it must be like ride on a cushion of air or something, it like lifts the blades and you know it's just striking the bottom of the heatsink and slowing the fan down. It does seem to kind of settle down and spin full speed, but I don't think it's worth having it in here with the model shut up and the aggro it's going to be to get it off. So that's all three of them on there now. As I said the other day, as the dog's going, as I said the other day, I'm going to put this fan into some of that multi-mould plastic and press it in there and try and make like a housing for it.